Shut up and sit down.
Good day, everyone. What a beautiful day in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the second day, day 2 of the Hustle Harder Club event with Tony Ramiro in studio and my guy who crushed it last night, TJ. What do you say, TJ?
Man, what's going on? What's going on? I appreciate y'all bringing me on. Yesterday was dope.
Yesterday, man, that energy was so high. That energy was so high. I learned so much from your
appreciate it.
Presentation, your keynote. You killed it.
Appreciate it.
You did so much, and we're going to talk about so much right now. Man, hold on, people. Listen up. This is important. You know, everybody, so let me back up. TJ is a University of Houston graduate.
Yeah, go Cougs. My folks out in H-Town.
All right. See, I learned something new about TJ yesterday. I also learned that he was an engineering graduate.
Background in engineering.
So where did you said you were out making $100,000 doing something. Where the hell were you?
So my background's in engineering. I studied mechanical engineering with a minor in mathematics from the University of Houston. And straight out of college, I was fortunate enough to work for an oil and gas company. In Houston, the oil and gas is major out there. It's the oil and gas capital. So wait to work for an oil and gas service company at that. So it's not one of the major operators like Exxon and BP and Shell, but we provided the equipment that we install subsea that produces crude oils and hydrocarbons. So I was working on the rigs.
So just to be clear, to produce something subsea, you have to be on the sea to produce it, right?
Exactly. You got to be on the sea. That's where I spent most of my time.
So, this is not related to anything we're asking, but how the hell do you get out there? Do they fly you on a helicopter?
Yeah, chopper out. They chop you out. So usually I would drive to Louisiana, mainly either Morgan City, Louisiana, or Fouchon, Louisiana. Probably never heard of these places. Nobody knows where they are. So there you go out there, and either one or two things happen. You either take the boat that's actually at the dock, the vessel. If we're taking a subsea installation vessel, most of the time they're at the dock, and we just board the boat from the dock. Then it takes it could be anywhere from a day to 2 days, or maybe half a day to get out to the project site. Either that, or we will get to the dock and it will just board a chopper. The chopper will fly straight out to the rig.
I got to tell you, I'm always amazed at that industry, but I don't want to take too much more time about that industry because, but I'm amazed by that. So you're out there in the seas, and then you're saying to yourself, "This isn't for me," and then, hey, here comes short-term rentals.
Yeah.
What? So TJ, just so people who don't know who you are, and that's probably not, that's probably a smaller amount every day as you continue to share your wisdom with us. You got involved in the short-term rental game by way of trying to figure out how to maximize cash flow. Is that probably a fair statement?
So, it was interesting. So when I got into it, I wasn't even necessarily looking to get into short-term rentals. While I was an engineer, I was doing real estate deals. I was probably closing like 2 to 3 deals a month, wholesaling.
So you were wholesaling deals at the time?
Yep, wholesale deals at the time. And then I started buying long-term rental properties.
Okay.
My very first rental property, as a matter of fact, it was a fully turnkey single-family house. I just put 20% down, and I did that. But even when I was wholesaling, I'll be on the rigs on the phone with sellers. But the signal out there is horrible.
Don't mind the chopper in the back. No problem.
Don't mind. We're just drilling. We're just drilling in the back. Don't worry about it. But yeah, and it was interesting though, because the signal out there is horrible. I remember when I was in college, I was a hustler in college. I had to put myself through school. The first in my family to go to college.
You mentioned yesterday, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Where are you from?
Nigeria originally.
So your family's Nigerian.
Nigeria 100%.
And you're the first one of your family members to graduate from college.
Absolutely. So
congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I was born in Nigeria. Moved to Houston when I was 8 years old. And I've grew up in Houston ever since.
Wow.
So, and when I graduated from high school, my mom was like, "How are you going to go to college?" Like, sometimes when I talk about my mom, it's hard not to speak in her accent. How are you going to, So she and I said, "Mom, I don't know. I'm gonna figure this thing out, but I really want to go. And so I decided decided to put myself through school. And when I got to college, I signed up for orientation. And I was registering for classes. But see, these colleges, they want their money up front. You got to pay for these classes because you can't even start class. So I went to the financial aid office and I said, man, I can't, what options do I have? Because I couldn't get a loan. And this is just, I couldn't get a loan. I couldn't even get financial aid because I wasn't even a citizen at the time.
Right.
And so they couldn't even give me a loan to go to college. And I said, well, what options do I have? And she said, well, you can actually pay your tuition at the end of the semester by deferring your tuition payments, but we have to charge you interest on it. I said, well, how much is the interest? She said 5%. I said, okay, well, that's not that bad. I can do that. So I said, okay, defer my tuition payment, which is what they did. And I just started working full time. I worked at Foot Action, started selling shoes.
Okay.
And then I was starting tutoring math on the side. And I was working.
Where does the math thing come from? Are you,
I don't know. I was just good at it.
You were just good at math.
I was just good at math. And in college, I had a fortunate opportunity to teach calculus, college algebra, and business calculus.
Wow.
That's actually where I realized I actually like to teach, but I never wanted to teach in a classroom. So now I get to teach real estate. Now I get to teach what I do within the short-term rental space.
When you get up there and the fire is like burning, I'm like, this guy's got it all going on.
Oh, man,
people
good.
are captivated, and you're telling people, your material blew me away. I got to be honest with you. I'm a guy who has no short-term rentals, but I'm a guy who's going to get some. I mean that. I'm going to get some because of last night, because I believe that there's a future in that for
100%.
myself or my kids, or that's where I'm going. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. So you put up a slide yesterday, and people didn't get a chance to see it because you obviously they were not smart enough to attend the event, but that's on them. But you put up a slide yesterday, which really caught me like, man, most people would take a single family home and they would rent it for the $1,700 you showed on the screen, and you'd show your PITI payment of $300, and you would show your net cash flow of $400.
Yeah.
And to your traditional investor, me, right? I'm a traditional guy. I'm like, $400. Yep. I'm happy.
Absolutely.
I'm cheering myself down the street. I just made $400. And then, man, it got quiet in the room.
Yeah.
Because then you went to that next slide. So tell us about that migration.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And by the way, I was a traditional landlord prior to getting into the short-term rental space. So me getting into the short-term rental space, again, fell on my lap. Now, there's lots of reasons why I much so prefer the short-term rental route over the traditional rental route.
The light bulb went off. I can understand.
But the thing is that even within the short-term rental space, a lot of folks look at this space and they say, "Well, it's a lot more involved. I gotta handle turnover. I gotta do security issues. Yeah, I can make more money, but I don't want to do all that." So the landlord, and I get that, and I understand that actually. But at the end of the day, when I realized that I can still take advantage of the upside of the additional cash flow, but build a team around everything else and still systematize the entire process and run the play that way. And so I love short-term rentals over traditional rentals because, yes, if you're doing it right, you can, at minimum, 3x what you would make.
Yeah, you showed us that. I mean, we were talking about that single-family house. You were getting $1,700, making $400 cash flow, and then you show the short-term rental part of it. Yeah. So you own that house, right?
I do own the house. That was my very first one.
Yeah, so your first one, you showed us the pictures of it. But how much did you make? You made like $2,200, 5 times that money.
Absolutely.
On that same short-term rental.
On a slow month.
Yeah, so you said January, traditionally the slowest month, and that makes sense to, I'm assuming, everybody. Most people are done with their travel on December, and January is not the busy month. But so take for that example, right? So now you were the traditional landlord. Somebody showed you, or how did that happen? Like, tell us what happened there.
When I was a traditional landlord doing a lot of traditional real estate investing. Even I was doing creative deals too. I wholesale sub-2 deals as well. I was getting to some owner finance things, and so very versed in that space. And then in my market research, I just came across a video about Airbnb. I was like, wow, I know Airbnb. I actually had never even stayed in an Airbnb at the time. And at the time there was a single family house, that same one that I showed, that I was remodeling to make it a traditional rental property. Then when I got wind of this Airbnb thing, then I said, you know what, let me furnish this one. Let me try it on this one. And I never forget the day I listed it. Well, before I listed it, I remember standing in the middle of the house with all these boxes open up, the furniture's everywhere, everything's in pieces. And I almost dang near had a breakdown. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is a lot. Like, this is a lot of work. Did I bite off more than I can chew with doing this Airbnb thing? But I'm glad I stayed the course, and I ended up finished getting it furnished. And I never forget the day I listed it. I furnished it and I listed it, and I was like, man, I just flipped my phone down and I started watching a movie. Within an hour, somebody just inquired. It wasn't even a booking, just an inquiry. But the level of excitement.
Yeah, that movie, you don't even remember the movie.
And they were like, oh, hey, do you have pictures of this? Does it have this? I'm like, yeah, it has all that. Book it. It's ready for you. Book it. And so then he ended up not booking it. But then the next day, I woke up with 2 bookings.
Okay.
And when I woke up with 2 bookings and I did the math and I say, wow, even at 50% occupancy, even at half the month booked at this price, which was lower than the market price, and I came in at lower than the market price, I'm still looking to double what I would make with a long-term traditional rental, and it became a no-brainer for me. And so I stuck my teeth into it.
Yeah, and so the power, guys, the power of TJ's idea right there was traditional rental, $400. Mm-hmm. Short-term rental, $2,200. And so when you say you can do it, yeah, there's energy. There's a process that goes into earning the extra income naturally.
Yep.
But we'll talk about it in a minute, but you have been able to build systems around it and use technology, which you talked a lot about yesterday. Mm-hmm. But so before we jump into that, the one thing that really blew me away for people, right? Because I've got a lot of friends that call me and say, Scott, I got no money. I want to get involved in real estate. How do I get involved? I want to get involved. And then the moment came yesterday. I've got an answer for you. And here's what it is. TJ's going to tell it to you. And it's this arbitrage game where you don't have to own the real estate. You're become the tenant.
Absolutely.
And you make money on the tenancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to walk us through that, man. You got to, because people right now sitting at home, here's what they're saying. I'm broke or I have money. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. But what are you about to say? And so talk about the arbitrage position you said, because you laid it out so clearly for people. Yeah. And as one caveat before you get there, if someone wanted that presentation that didn't get a chance to go, are you able to flip some of those presentations on your Instagram for somebody?
Yeah, them tap in with me for sure.
Yeah, we're selling the recording too.
But check on, I love my man Tony. My man Tony's hustling always.
The funnel will be set tomorrow. The link will be there. You can buy tickets for the next event too.
That's awesome. My man Tony. But in the interim, I'd like for you, if you could do me a favor and flip those 2 slides for somebody, because this arbitrage game, you got to talk me through it again. It blew me away, guys. Pay attention right now.
Yeah, and here's the thing about arbitrage too. A lot of folks, like you said, real estate traditionally is a bigger barrier to get into. For folks who want to get into real estate, I think arbitrage is one of the best ways to do it. You can get to the cash flow bag in real estate and without having to own these assets. I have friends, people that do this business at a very high level, building 7-figure businesses with this strategy and not owning not one of these assets. See, for me,
they don't own one asset.
They don't own not one of these assets.
7 figures, guys.
7 figures.
7-figure income coming into them, and they don't own the real estate.
They don't own the real estate.
So when you say to somebody, we're going to get into it right now, but when we talk about it, guys, this isn't a small business. This isn't a business that you're saying, I'm going to go be able to make $250 a month. You're making big money.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right, so tell me what goes on.
So with this whole arbitrage thing, you're essentially the middleman. And for folks who know anything about business, you know that there's a lot of money to be made in being the middleman. In wholesaling, you're the middleman. So with arbitrage, you are not buying this property. What's important to understand is that you want to rent it, but you want to rent it the right way. You're going to rent it not as if you are qualifying yourself for renting it as like you're going to rent like a traditional property. No, you're going to do it the right way and rent under a business entity. And we're going to do a long-term corporate leases. Usually when I do it arbitrage, now I want 2 years. Matter of fact, I use the fact that I'm going to do 2 years as an additional incentive to actually get a little bit lower on the rent.
I'm going to be here for 2 years.
I'm going to be here for 2 years. And I'm going to be a perfect tenant while I'm at it. Like I'm going to be the best tenant you ever had in your life. And I'm going to take this off your hands for 2 years. And you provide that experience, you provide that service for the landlords. And now you renting their property under a business, and then now you furnish it, and you continuously sell the use of that property to earn cash flow as a short-term rental.
So let's just, I'm going to break it down a little bit further, just because when I sat there yesterday, and I have a friend who's coming to my mind right now, who's tired of his job. I mean, he texts me every day, I hate my job. I'm like, I just keep writing back to him, Airbnb, and I was writing back to him 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 2 months ago, but I didn't know what to tell him to do.
Yeah,
I know now what to tell him to do.
Find TJ.
But so here's what you said, TJ. you go in and do it the right way. So can you just talk about the right way that you do it? Because you went through some really high level, really important points of you're very transparent. You rented in your name, in your company's name. By naturally, if you rent it in your company's name, they have to know you're going to rent it to someone else.
Absolutely.
Versus your friend who rented it in his name. Bring it down for us a little bit.
And that's key, because especially if you rent it under your personal name, if I decide to rent you a property right now, and I'm qualifying you just as a regular person, you rent it under your personal name, and you decide to rent it out to other people, by definition, you're subleasing.
Yes. By definition, you're breaching your lease.
You're breaching the lease. And,
yes.
And that is subject for you to get fined or whatever trouble. And they're entitled within their right to fine you, however, within the limits.
And most importantly, you break the confidence barrier right there. They no longer trust you. They no longer believe you.
Absolutely.
You just lied to them with or without intent, right?
Absolutely. But if I rent it under a business entity, and I'm completely upfront about master leasing, what I'm doing is completely transparent. They understand that I'm not going to be staying there. I'm providing a service to other people that's going to be staying there. So what your job is to position yourself as somebody who knows what they're doing, for one, someone who's an expert, who's knowledgeable about the business strategy, and also show them how you will address all their pain points. And landlords have pain points. And coming from me, that was a traditional landlord. Trust me, I get it, because my very first tenant was a nightmare tenant. So I understand, for one, are they going to get the rent paid on time? Show them how they're going to get the rent paid on time. Show them how well you're going to take care of the property. Show them how you protect the property with security. Show them how it's insured, actually, right? Because that's another very important
and you
thing.
Talked about that insurance. So
Absolutely.
you said, I don't remember the name, but you referenced a company that's a predominant leader in Airbnb or short-term rentals. Can you tell us that name?
Yep, proper insurance.
Proper insurance. So if you are in the game, so there are people that are in the game that don't have proper insurance or are not properly insured that are in a massive liability position for no reason.
A lot of folks think that a traditional renter's policy is going to protect you within the short-term rental space. It will not.
So it will not. So understand your exposure you're putting yourself into for
100%.
For a few dollars or just some transparency. So let's talk for a minute. So you go to whom? How do you find these arbitrage units? Because you talked yesterday about REITs or large corporate-owned apartments, and then you talked about owner-occupied or owners like owner-controlled, or someone like myself who would own an apartment building. So walk us through that, TJ, because I thought that was so fascinating how you approach them, how you have a business plan, you have a code of conduct that you share. I mean, walk us through that for a minute. Tell us the process,
100%.
Identification to what you're sharing with them, and maybe tell us what's the one question you get back from them.
Oh, absolutely. And for one, we outlining your marketplace, for one, if you guys aren't familiar with, and this is one I actually forgot to mention, AirDNA at the when I was on stage yesterday. AirDNA is almost like running comps for short-term rentals.
Sure.
And it is a software that is used, and they're going to show you other listings that are similar to your listing, and it'll show you kind of what their annual revenue is, kind of their occupancy rate, and what the average ADR is, which is ADR is average daily rate, what that is. And so, but I like to let people know, use AirDNA's data, but take the data with a grain of salt, because there's some metrics that they have a hard time tracking. For example, if they are going to say, hey, properties like yours are averaging this much a year, but one thing they can't track is if a property is actually a full-time short-term rental or a part-time short-term rental. If it's something like, imagine somebody like me who was traveling as an engineer all the time, but when I'm offshore, I want to rent my property out to earn extra money. Like, there are a lot of people that do that. Or is it a full-time investment and it's a full-time short-term rental? They can't really track that, so they lump all that into the average. So I like to let people know, in the beginning, when you're looking for these properties, look at AirDNA's data. But understand that if you like that number, then run the play on that property, because if you like that number, you're going to outperform that number.
Sure.
So
you beat AirDNA's numbers
by two-folds at least. Yeah, for sure.
But it's a good.
But it's a great base. I
love
I love for people to still use it, because it gives you a very conservative number.
Sure.
For sure. So when you identify a property, whatever in your marketplace, and you don't have to start in your backyard. I'm a big fan of starting in your backyard, just because of the nuances that may go on in the beginning. But you don't have to do it in your backyard. You can 100% build a team and have this business run still systematized outside of your backyard.
Sure.
The conversation with the landlord is the most important part, though, because you're positioning.
And you were talking about this yesterday. Exactly. That was brilliant. So when you call the corporate world, right, or the REIT world, you have a different discussion than when you're calling the owner.
Landlord. Yes, it's different. It's different. But nonetheless, with either case, the conversation is a little bit different, and the conversation is not long on the phone. It shouldn't be long on the phone.
Sure.
Your job is to more so just set the appointment. Now, but set the appointment, but also kind of set the precedence of your intentions at the same time. Hey, my company, looking to rent a few properties in this area. Are you the right person to talk to? Something like that. That already lets them know.
So when you say my company versus I'm looking to rent, it is distinguishing the fact that I have an intention that's other than for me to live in the property.
100%.
Okay.
Or you call a REIT and say, hey, do you guys have any corporate use? Do you start having any corporate listings available, any corporate units available?
So corporate units are once again rented to a corporation like yourself when they understand that you will not be living in it.
Exactly.
And they'll distinguish, a REIT would distinguish X amount of units in a building as corporate versus for tenancy.
Absolutely. Usually about 20% of their units are for corporate.
Okay.
And they do that 20% to satisfy like the threshold of the property, because they can't have too many on the corporate because it's not a good look in case they were looking to sell the property.
Sure.
So 20% is usually most REITs like the maximum threshold for corporate
And I think
units.
HUD financing caps it at 10%.
At 10%.
I think HUD caps it.
Yep. So that's usually how it goes. But again, still setting that and then just setting the appointment. Hey, do you guys have corporate units available? Okay, cool. We'll come to look at your 2 bedrooms or your 1 bedroom and set the appointment and go. When you go up there, very important to confirm the logistics. Does it work for your business model from a logistical perspective?
Yeah, and so talk through that a little bit, because people don't think about all of the stuff that you were thinking yesterday. You were talking about maintenance. You were talking about lock set, and you were talking about access control, and then you talked about one thing that blew me away, which I'm going to ask you about, is this noise control matter. But let's talk about when you say it works for your business. Walk us through what you do to make sure it works for your business.
Absolutely. So when I walk through, for one, access. Where's the parking situation like? Especially in the areas that I love to have short-term rentals in the city of Houston, parking is a big deal. So what is the parking situation like? How do they get access to parking? How do they get access to the unit itself? How do they get to the front door? Can I systematize that process? Then when I get to the unit, can I systematize the unit itself? Can I install my own automated door lock system? Because some communities may not allow it. Now, if I'm in a community and they won't allow it, if I cannot convince them to allow me to do that, then guess what I'm doing? I'm walking away, because at the end of the day, that doesn't work for my business model. Now, if they say, no, you got to keep the key, that could work for yours. It 100% could work for your business model. It just doesn't work for mine. So I'm going to go find another opportunity elsewhere. Also, we like to mount our TV. I've never had any objections on that. Things like that. So from a logistical perspective, you want to make sure that it's right. And everything that we're talking about now, we're talking about systems. Because at the end of the day, that's what the
when you
value
talk
is.
about these systems, like people are not, maybe someone who doesn't understand, who doesn't have short-term rentals, but your access control is all systematic, right? When somebody says, I'm here, you say code is 4646.
Absolutely.
And then they gain access to the unit, right? So I mean, it's all truly systematized.
It's systematized. See, they don't even let us know that they're here. We send our our assistants, our VAs send out codes at 1:00 every day to all the guests, to their codes, and when the day that they check out, they disconnect their codes. Usually checkouts at 11, codes disconnected by 11:15.
Okay.
But this whole thing about systems, I need people to really understand that is where the value is. See, a lot of people want to get into this business to just do Airbnb, and a lot of people feel that Airbnb is like the value of the business, but it's not actually. The reason why I'm able to the same amount of time it takes me to run and manage 5 beds is the same amount of time it takes me to run and manage 55 plus beds, is because of the infrastructure that we built, the systems.
So
and that's
TJ,
where the value is.
people, well, you're in Milwaukee, someone's staying in your place.
Oh, 100%.
He's got VAs across the country.
And the country's just, go ahead, tell us.
I had 3 bookings come in while I was on stage.
So, well, TJ was on stage. He had 3 bookings, and I'm assuming that the VAs accepted them and moved them in, and everyone's happy.
I do nothing.
Okay, so system is obviously huge. So a lot of people have, when I say a lot of people, me, I get worried that I'm not going to be able to give the guest experience a 10, specifically about the cleanliness, right? Yeah. How do I clean these damn places? Because to be honest, cleaning my house is a pain in the butt, or cleaning that, you know what I mean? It's like you have to, how do you find the cleaners? How do you know who's good? I mean, you posted some stuff, and I'm still blown away by it.
Yeah, absolutely. And cleaners, goodness gracious, they're too important to your business.
They're the business. They're the business.
They are literally the backbone of your income.
Yeah, you said that, and I'm important. Like, I get that, right? I can see that, but So, but there's good and bad, like
Oh,
in
it's good and
anything.
bad. It's good and bad, just with anything. And I had to, and when I was getting into the game, cleaners weren't as accessible or available as they are now. Airbnb's taking a lot more ground roots now, so there's a lot more cleaners available. But back then it wasn't. I had to run through my first year I probably ran through 4 different cleaning crews, just because they all did a bad job and they all start off great. And here's the thing about cleaners: most of the time, it's not that your cleaners suck, because literally 90% of the time when you start with the cleaner, they're going to be amazing. They're going to try to wow you. They're going to try to impress you. And what tends to happen is it's not that they suck, is that they just get comfortable.
Right. They get lazy.
They get lazy. It's, I don't need to look at the checklist anymore. I've done this plenty of times. I don't need to look at the checklist
So
anymore.
when you say a checklist, you give your cleaners.
Oh, we have a checklist for every single unit.
And
absolutely.
they check out. So you're making sure that they're doing a full inspection check.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it's all digital too, and it's on their phone.
Yeah, so what you said it's on their phone, and then you get pictures back?
Yeah, we get pictures. So there's 2 that you can use, Properly and Turnover B&B.
He's giving all the value.
Yeah, so Properly
and Turnover B&B. These are turnover cleaning management technologies that are just crucial to
So
your
can
business.
you find cleaners in that?
And you can find cleaners in that. And that's what's dope. And I like the way that they do that, because now cleaners actually subscribe to their database.
Yeah, and they know expectations are high.
They want to be
Exactly.
good, yeah.
They know. And so if I need a cleaner, I can literally just put my job out there on the platform, and they will, if they were physically here, it would brawl over your cleaning job, because guess what? They come through, perform a good job for you, and then you can keep them on the team.
Yeah, and they know who you are now. They know that you like this touch versus that touch versus whatever else is going on, right?
Yep.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Because I've stayed in a good amount of Airbnbs at this point, traveling around. But one is generally you have everyone that's renting from you being in the Airbnb space. It's not like the hotel where you come in, you kind of leave a mess at the end, leave it how it is, and then everybody comes in clean.
Yeah.
Usually, generally, people are even doing some of their own laundry while they're there, cleaning up, sweeping, things like that.
Yep. Definitely. They tend to, because the Airbnb feels more homely. It feels like it's like a home away from home almost, right? And so they definitely have kind of that inclination to do all that. And we provide all of our units. We provide full wash and dryer, full size wash and dryers, every single one of our units. So we give them that flexibility to wash their clothes, because again, a lot of our listings are also people stay for longer terms, so weekly and monthly stays. We allocate about 30% of our portfolios strictly for longer term stays.
Yeah, because once they check in, they're there for 30 days.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's
a beautiful thing.
It's good. Now, here's the thing. If you provide a longer term stay, usually we provide a discount for staying longer.
right.
But again, understand that the defense is just as important, because guess what? You don't have to worry about why they're staying longer. Yes, you charge them you charge them less, but you don't have to worry about linens for that month. You don't have to worry about inventory for that month. It's all that defense is, because I'm saving money on the back end as well.
Right.
And so we love those longer term stays, because it definitely keeps our books balanced for sure.
Are you? Just real quick, are you making money on the cleaning fee? That's something I've always wondered. So you make money on the rental and then the cleaning fee as well?
Not we make money on the cleaning fee, most of them, not every single listing. Now, you don't want to make cleaning fee too high. It'll discourage a lot of folks from booking with you, and it'll come off like you're being greedy. You want to look at other cleaning, see what other people are kind of charging for cleaning fees, but honestly, it needs to be in comparison, in retrospect to your listing. If you have a big property, then you're going to charge more to clean. It's going to cost you more, but yeah, most of our cleaning fees usually more than what it cost us, but it's still very, very fair, and it's never been an issue for sure.
TJ, you talked about, what people probably don't fully realize as maybe even a traveler or some type of investor is the sheer size of the Airbnb or the short-term rental market, right? Yeah. I mean, this is $1 billion and $1 billion industry.
And growing. And
with no stop in sight. But the technology is really advancing itself.
Oh, yeah.
You said yesterday that there's a noise monitoring service.
Yeah.
So you put
100%.
What? Okay.
Very, very. I mean, and it's necessary and it's important.
Yeah, but what is this? What? So you put something in the unit that if somebody starts getting loud, you get notified.
It monitors the noise level, absolutely, and it's important, especially for folks who have like the bigger units, because the bigger units are targets, 100%. I'm staying in an Airbnb right now, and they have a noise monitoring system in there, the same one that I use.
They called and they said it was too loud last night.
Where are they placed?
It does. Honestly, if you, depending on the size, you may need like one, you may need two, but one covers a good amount of space.
And so walk through the scenario, because obviously it happens, so somebody's at home, they're watching the basketball game and they cheer. You get notified?
Depending on the setting, right?
Okay.
Depending on what level decibels you set it, right? But usually you want to set it at like a noise that's like party level.
So your intention of this device is to say, are there people doing partying in my apartment, which is against our rules of stay?
Exactly. But guess what? Like that example you just stated, people getting overzealous watching the game, that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what'll happen is we'll get notified. We'll say, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? And then they'll let us know, oh, no, there's no party. We're just having a good time. Sorry, we just got a little too loud. Okay, cool. And,
but you get a check-in with them, let them know you're watching.
We're going to tap it. You're going to get a call from our team. Somebody on my team will call you.
It's a scary feeling, too, coming directly from the host.
No, imagine that. You get a call from the team. Hey, what's going on? They're like, didn't you see the three-pointer? It went in.
Are you an Airbnb superhost as well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we became superhosts.
When you're a superhost, that's for all your listings or just a particular listing?
For that profile. No, it's for all your listings on that account.
You're in at this point.
Yeah, but you can lose it. Like, if you can be a superhost and then you can lose it if, like for example, Airbnb hates cancellations. They hate cancellations. So
on your end.
On our end. If we cancel on our accord, they hate it. You get one cancellation a year, they will drop you from Superhost.
Yeah, and you can understand that though, right? Because people become dependent on you, and then it looks bad to them, and then the aggravation going down the road. That's amazing, TJ. So, TJ, we're running out of time here. I just have two more questions for you. So there's a category called short-term rentals.
Yeah.
And then there's the perception that all of that's Airbnb.
Yeah.
And you said yesterday that you love Airbnb, right? But it's not the all.
Yeah, it's not.
Part of the all.
Yeah.
And so the one thing that caught me that so what happens when you list on VRBO or you list on bookings.com and you list on how do you manage that calendar?
Yeah, absolutely. And a very, very good question. And you want to be on multiple platforms.
Okay.
Because the more eyes on your listing, the more money you're going to make.
Do you get more money from a different platform? Like, does Bookings pay 5% more than what Airbnb does?
Yeah, my prices are about 8% more on Booking.
So you hope Booking comes through.
Oh, yeah, we love Booking.
Okay.
We like Booking. And Booking's actually slept on. People don't know that Booking gets pretty much just about the same amount of traffic as Airbnb, right?
Wow.
And a lot of folks, a lot of Booking.com folks that book with me, a lot of folks come from out the country. They book with Booking.com, right? And so VRBO is another good one, right? VRBO, which used to be a HomeAway, but they got bought out now. You want to make sure, though, because the more eyes on your listing, the better.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that those calendars are all succinct because you don't want a double booking. And on top of that, you should, at a point in time, have your own direct booking site. Because that's one of the things that we have to emphasize to folks. A lot of folks look at Airbnb as like the way that they get their money. See, I teach my students to kind of shift that mindset.
So you create your own website for your own bookings. That back end is Airbnb still.
Well, it's your own website, exactly, and everything is succinct together. If somebody books it directly on my website, those dates are blocked off on Airbnb.
TJ, oh man, okay. So you have your own website that creates your own brand.
Yes.
Yeah. And you create your own feel inside your unit. So I might want to book. If I book with TJ and TJ's magic touch is that he puts mints on my beds, let's just say something stupid like that, I can expect that at all of TJ's properties, and I like that.
Yep.
So next time I'm in wherever, I'm going to TJ's website to book my Airbnb or my VRBO or my Booking.com. Because I know the level of service is going to be high.
Absolutely. And we love Airbnb. We love getting these bookings from Airbnb. But when they book on Airbnb, there's no reason why they should be rebooking with you again on Airbnb.
Right.
They should be now rebooking direct with you.
Yeah, and you have to create that.
And you have to create
connection to them.
What we do is we have ways that we get and in order for you to do that, you have to be able to build your own database.
Yeah.
Get your own information.
And Airbnb protects all that. They cover phone numbers and emails.
They cover all that. So you have to have your own way that's systematized to where you can collect data of not just the person that books with you, but every single person that comes with them. Every person that steps foot in your listing, you should have their information. That way now you're retargeting them. Hey, thank you so much for booking with us through Airbnb. Next time, book direct with us. And here's an additional 15% off. Right. And you're going to save on the 13% of fees on Airbnb.
Right, so it actually turns into like a 30% savings.
Exactly.
That they don't realize.
And guess what they're going to do? They're going to book direct with you next time.
Because
And they're gonna
Airbnb
tell
won't
their
give you
friends.
that information, will they?
What?
The
No.
actual whoever's coming in. They're not giving you anything.
But
Yeah,
so
no.
the question I have for you is, and maybe you're not in a position, but so what are you doing to get that information?
There are three different ways, three different levels that we do it. For one, when somebody books with us, we ask them for their email address and phone number because Airbnb doesn't furnish their email address.
Right.
But they do give us their phone number. We say, hey, just give us your email address or phone number just so we can make sure we have the right contact for you. Literally only about maybe 20% of folks actually respond with that information. The second level that we do it is our digital guidebook. Our guidebook that we send out to our guests, which we send out about 3 days prior to.
Yeah, you mentioned
so
this.
they check in. As soon as they click the guidebook, guess what they got to do? They got to put their name and email address to even have access to it.
Wow.
As soon as they do that, guess where it goes? To our database.
Right.
When somebody checks into a unit, guess what do they have to have? What do they connect to immediately?
The Wi-Fi.
The freaking
Oh,
Wi-Fi.
the Wi-Fi, yeah.
The freaking Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
As soon as they try to connect to the Wi-Fi, guess what they got to do?
They got to put their email.
Put their
and their phone number.
and
Hey,
phone
we're
number.
verifying it's you.
They got to go, and it's going straight to our. It's not even. They just do it. Like
Right.
think about when you go to a hotel.
Yeah, you're not even
When you-
thinking about
You're
it
not even
anymore.
thinking about it. They just, I need to connect to the Wi-Fi. Oh, if they want my email, okay, give my email address.
It's like
That's
accept,
amazing.
It's not-
accept terms and conditions. Yeah.
Exactly.
Turn notifications on. Yep.
Exactly. So guess what? Now they get into our email database. A month after they check out, they get that email. Thank you so much for staying with us. Next time, book with us direct, save on our Airbnb fees, and here's an additional 15% off for your next stay. Then we send out their 9 emails, 9 months. We send out 1 email a month. 9 months, they just touching base with them, just following up. It could be anything about the city. Where
Tell them what's going on in
exactly what's
Houston.
going on in Houston. Guess what? That's going to do is build that rapport. Next time they want to book in Houston, guess what they're going to do? They're going to book direct with me, and they're going to send my website to their friends. And so consistency and systematized process, getting and building your own database, that's the difference between you just doing Airbnb and actually having a long-term branded sustainable business.
How long have you been doing that, and how many active people are on there per month that are viewing your site?
Man, I haven't even looked at that data. But a lot of folks that view our site. I mean, our site. We have the brand. I mean, everything's on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We have all that. Most folks that book our sites, that book direct, is folks that either stayed with us before or they sent or referred to our website. We just had and I posted on my Instagram too last month. It was an $8,000 booking that came in from one of my duplexes, and it was a direct booking. That somebody sent them my website, right? And they were so happy.
You're like, hell yeah, team, we did it here. We did it here.
Yeah, so
That's
So we
amazing.
and the consistency with that, you're just gonna watch your database is gonna keep growing, and now you have a long-term sustainable business. I think people need to focus on that when you look into short-term rental business for sure.
My man TJ, I'm so thankful to have you here
Thank
in
you so much
studio
for
with
having me,
us.
man. This is fun.
I'm so glad you're in Milwaukee with us for the Hustle Harder event. I couldn't be happier. And your presentation yesterday was lights out, man. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
I
you
really
sharing that
appreciate you.
information.
No
I was
problem.
completely motivated. Thank you for joining us
Working
in the
on
Hard
it.
Truths with Scott Lurie, and I hope to see you soon.
Fantastic.
And
Absolutely.
thanks for joining us.
Where can
you,
people
thank you.
find you, brother? Because I know you have over 250 students in the country, right?
Yeah, for sure. Instagram at TJ Tijani. Definitely tap with me on Instagram. You can check out my website, www.strroadmap.com, STR short-term rental roadmap. And yeah, feel free
You
to
said
tap in with me.
strroadmap.com.
strroadmap.com.
And if you guys want to see his presentation, www.hustleharderclub.com.
Let's go.
You'll buy the replay.
my man TJ. Thank you all for being
Thank
in
y'all,
studio.
brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.